Hello, it's me again. Just messing around with a couple old roco slash model power locomotives. One of them is the auxiliary, and the other one is the actual locomotive. It was a shock nose locomotive with the big, huge, round motor in it that drains about 1.5 amps and makes a ton of noise. So I was just playing around with them, and what I did was I had two of these chassis with the gears and everything, and I removed them and swapped them into the auxiliary frame that didn't have anything, no gears or anything like that. This is just from a previous messing around there. But anyway, what I got is a couple cheap three-pole motors, about 1100 RPM at 12 volts. I got a cheap MRC Dakota hooked to them. And what I did was I didn't use the plastic drive shafts. For one, they make too much noise. And they kind of bind up at a low speed. I had them on there and it was kind of bucking and chugging. I thought maybe it was because of the motors, but I decided to make my own. That's a metal pin with a little bit of silicone hose on either end. A lot of people use a whole hose and they kind of flop around at high RPM and they reverberate and make all sorts of noises. So that's what I did. It seems to work out all right. It runs pretty smooth. It would run smoother, way smoother if it had 5-pole motors in it. I just don't want to waste 5-pole motors on this project because it basically building it out of a pile of junk. So anyway, we'll go forward with it. If I can get it moving here. It's not too bad. They're 3-pole motors, so you can hear them humming. 5-pole motors, you usually don't hear them. Not too bad for an old ass chassis. It's got a little bit of speed to it because it's a higher RPM motor. Not like the 5-poles are usually about 9,500, 10,000 RPM. These were the roco slash model power ones that did not come with traction tires. They were originally looked like that. The model that came with the traction tires has a different frame, as you can see. Completely different frame. They're geared differently. They're geared a lot slower. So what I've done with this, it's kind of sort of just temporary. These motors are glued down on a rubber block. Both motors are. These wires here are tinned and clipped underneath the plastic. They're not going anywhere. They're just taped so they're not flopping. Eventually what they'll do is they'll run into the locomotive itself to give it power. So you just won't have this front one driving the the pickups. I'll be using all the wheels, and the reason why I want to do that is because, and I will flip this, I'll take this off and flip it over so I can show you. Alright, this locomotive originally did not have traction tires, but you will see traction tires on there. I took the gear off, the rim off, hooked the axle into a Dremel, and grinded a channel, a machined channel in there very carefully so I could put a traction tire on there. And I did these as well. Actually, excuse me. These ones I robbed off of another locomotive. These ones are factory. No, the one that's closest to my hand is not factory. The one closest to the back of the is factory, and I can tell by the way the edges, the outer edge of the rim is cut. And these ones here are, let me see if I can see a little bit of gold. Okay, that one's not factory, and that one's not factory. So 3 out of the 4 that are there are me cutting into, basically machining the rim, putting the rim on the axle in a Dremel, and slowly cutting into it very, very carefully to create a groove. And hold on for a second, I'm gonna pop this back on the track. Okay, so I slapped the shell on there because the shell has the speaker glued into it. So we'll start it up. And I'll give it a little bit of, I'll give it a little bit of love. Cogs a little bit. It's not perfect. Like I said, it's the cheap 3-pole motors. I did not want to waste 5-pole motors on this project. I just wanted to make something with a box of stuff that I had gotten off of eBay that was, you know, barely ran or it was junk. So, alright, so let's see how many cars on here we got. Alright, so there's like 35 cars on here. Maybe a little bit more. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, there's 35 cars on there. Now, it's got dual motors and traction tires, so it shouldn't have a problem pulling it up that 3.5% grade. These Rocos really didn't have that much traction, even though they had a lot of weight. They usually pulled about 10, 11, 12 cars, depending on the weight on them. Sometimes a little bit more, depending on how heavy the cars were. A lot of my cars are cheap, so I've added weight into them, so they weigh a lot just to keep them on the track. I never bothered to get a scale and actually set it up so they have the correct amount of weight, because it's not something I really care about. So we're at 30%, 37% throttle, and as you can see, it's climbing right up that hill. No problems. On a flat track, this thing would, I'd say would probably pull 50, 60 cars. But this is going up a hill, so we're not going to really overload it. I might, seeing that I like Pennsylvania Railroad, I might try to find another one of these, so I don't have to use like a New York Central that I have and repaint it. That's just a pain in the ass. I'd rather just get, for this project, get an original one that matches and call it a day. Not too bad for a cheap Dakota and a couple 3-pole motors. Oh, I derailed. Yeah, I think when I came down the hill, slowed down too quick. All that extra weight knocked, derailed it a little bit. But anyway, that's that. And maybe I'll do some other stuff on it, some lighting and whatnot. It's not too bad for a $35 Dakota. Yeah, you're not gonna have the same quality as a Soundtracks, and they don't have, MRC doesn't have one, as far as I know, that has the sound of a Baldwin motor, prime mover. So the closest thing that I could program it to was an Alco. When they start up, they sound very similar. The Baldwin sounds, when it starts up, sounds like a like a rough sounding diesel when a diesel starts up, and they all sound like that. The Alco sounds a little bit smoother, but that was as close as what they had. So for short money, they work all right. It would work better if I put 5-pole motors in it, but I'm not going to spend the money on it. Like I said, it's just a project. Anyway, thanks for watching.